My name is Chris and Fanzon. You are listening to the Hidden Doors podcast. Upcoming is my spiel on how to write good professional emails. How do you write professional, beautifully great emails that persuade, that people actually read? How do you do that? I'm going to be going over that. If you like what you hear, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date on more podcasts coming down. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so we have how do you write good professional emails? I should call it beautifully perfect professional emails. Are you sick and tired of, let's say, your emails not being read, or maybe they're briefly being read, but no one is understanding them? People are getting confused by them. No one you send emails to is taking any actions and next steps that you want them to based on what you're sending. If that's all your case, these tips would be really helpful for you. The whole point of sending an email, right, is you're communicating something. And if you're communicating something, you would assume that you're persuading someone or a team to do something. It could be a problem that you want fixed. It could be a task that needs to help you need help getting done. It could just be a summary of work that you did and you want people to read it. You want them to understand how the work that was involved and all the good work you did. Emails need to be read, understood, and most likely, if possible, actioned upon. Some emails don't need action, but I would say most need to be actioned upon. And so, how do you write a beautiful email that does all those things, checks all those boxes? I will take you freaking through it. So, there are more than what I'm going to cover, but I think these 4 points are the most crucial. So, really quick, you need a TLDR. That's number one. 2, have background. 3, organize your paragraphs with bolded, bolded titles, and have next steps and timing. So those are the 4 things. Let's go through that. Let's go through it. Number 1, uh, TLDR. So emails need to be succinct. You can. I actually write really long emails. My team makes fun of me for this, but I do it in a way where it gets understood, I believe. But emails, for the most part, need to be as succinct as possible. And if they aren't succinct, then you need something called a TLDR, too long, didn't read type of thing at the very top. At the very top of your email. You even literally do TL semicolon DR. What am I saying? TLDR, yeah. TL semicolon DR. Um, and then you maybe write no more than maybe 2 to 3, but I would maybe do 1 to 2 sentences that encapsulates the entire email in 2 sentences. Because you're going to have, if you're sending this out to a bunch of people, the higher ups in your organization likely aren't reading it. And if they are reading it, it's like they briefly skim over it. And the way that you get those types of people to read it, and even just people who are too busy um, to read it, is putting a TLDR at the very, very top. So if you know it's a long email where you need to read it to understand it, you need a TLDR at the very top. It will be a lifesaver for you. And again, well, you know, just generally speaking, people are either lazy or people are busy. And they can be busy with good work that actually has an impact in the organization, or just busy work. They're either lazy or they're busy. It doesn't matter what kind of busy work they're doing, but they're lazy or they're busy. And that means they don't have time to read massively long emails. But the beautiful thing about a TLDR is, if initially the person's saying, you know what, I'm not going to read this whole damn email, but there's a TLDR, I'll get a little inside scoop here, and I'm not going to read this whole thing. If it's important enough where after they read the TLDR, they're like, oh, this is crucial for whatever the hell I have to do. And if I don't read this, it's going to be a bad day for me, bad week. Could be a whole update to the process, and if they don't have that update, they might be screwed down the line. But the point is, either two outcomes can happen. Either one, they read the TLDR and they have basically a general idea of what you're trying to say, or two, they read it and they say, you know what, that's actually pretty important. I need to read the rest of this email. So if it's longer than like a page or half a page, put a TLDR. Two is background. I like to start all of my emails with background for the most part, especially a new email. Obviously, if you're on multiple email chains, you don't have to keep doing background, but especially the first email that you send, I would put background in there. And the point is, um, you know, you can write all these beautiful subject headers and to try to succinctly tell the point of your email, um, but you know, the point is to try to prime whoever the reader of the email is. You're trying to prime them up before they read the rest of the whole email that you send. And the best way to prime them in the very beginning is starting off with background. What I like to do is in the background, I also like to, it's like a sort of like a TLDR, like I just mentioned, but a little bit longer. It's a bit of a paragraph, but it's a paragraph that succinctly covers what I'm trying to do. And I make sure the most crucial points, are in the background, or you call it the summary, but in the background, which is the first paragraph, really, I start writing content in emails. Um, the point is, again, people are lazy and people are busy. So if you're naturally thinking of an email, the most focus, at least how I read a damn email, most of my focus is going to be in the very beginning. I'm going to try to understand the very beginning, and if it's long, I got to read all the way to the end. So if you put the main point all the way at the very end, it's like you write all these details out. It's beautiful, but then at the main point at the very end, that's like the point you're trying to get across. It's too late. You need to put the main point in the beginning. So, for example, um, if there's a breakdown, let's just say there's a breakdown of process or communication at work, and you are writing an email because you want to explain there's a breakdown, and you have the details to go as an example, like, hey, because of X, Y, and Z, this took longer to do, blah blah blah. And you want to write all this email out to the team and have them be better at this process, whatever. In the very beginning, I would say, hey, something like, there was a clear breakdown of process that led to extra time being spent on something. And below, I'm proposing some solutions along with more of the details of what happened. That's I'd say it a little bit more eloquently if I wasn't just rambling off on this podcast. But the point is, I put the most main important background right there. Now people are primed. They know when they're reading this damn email, they know that they're not just reading a bunch of details. They know that these details are relevant to, there was an issue and I'm proposing solutions that will fix this issue. But let's just say you took that background off, or you put that point all the way at the bottom and you said, hey, there was a breakdown of process and we need to improve things with these solutions at the bottom. Then all you're reading is in the very beginning of the email just a bunch of details that don't make sense to people yet. It's like all these details make so much more sense when you have the background right above it. Okay? Before I read all these monotonous details, oh, this happened and this happened and this happened and that happened. That's great. Blah, blah, blah. But why am I reading all this crap? It's because this all led to longer time to complete something, which took an extra X amount of hours. And because of that, I have some solutions. Now, when they read the details, they're like, oh, that makes sense. This is what happened. So I like to put a background to prime people to understand what they are about to read and put the most crucial points in that background. Okay. Uh, three. is organized with bolded titles. So my I like to write my emails with titles on the paragraph, and I usually have some kind of structure. And a structure is, for example, if there was some breakdown in process at work, I would probably start off with background, what went wrong, and solutions going forward. And each section would have a bolded title. So background, this happened, which caused X amount of hours spent on that, and because of this, we had to, I don't know, maybe there's a business cost, who the hell knows. But there are solutions going forward that I want us to work on and align on, blah, blah, blah. Background, what went wrong? Now, boom, what went wrong? Another paragraph. 3, solutions going forward. That's an example, by the way. You can use whatever the hell titles you want. But the point is now when someone's reading it, again, uh, people are people need to be primed before they read something. They can just, if there's a whole paragraph, that to me that's annoying. Reading an entire paragraph without really fully understanding what the paragraph's talking about first. So before in usually emails or any kind of document, before I have anyone read a massively long paragraph, which is monotonous and it's just going to be a lot of details, I put a little title before to prime them up. Say, okay, this is exactly what this will be talking about. And also organizes their brain. You need to, in your email, you need to help organize the things in your email so it's organized when someone interprets that email. So if you're not using any of the things I'm telling you and you don't title it, it's just a bunch of paragraphs. It's hard to like. Let's say it's a pretty long email too. Let's say it's like 3 to 5 paragraphs. It's just hard to internalize. It's much easier to internalize when each paragraph is clearly telling you what it's going to be talking about. I'd much rather prefer to read, let's say, 3 longer paragraphs, each one with a title saying what that paragraph will be talking about, than just 3 paragraphs that I'm not really sure where they're going with it. So the point is to be very organized, put bolded titles. This way you are going to also help organize that person, whoever is reading it. You're going to organize their thoughts and the way that they read your email. That's number 3. Number 4 is next steps and timing. Okay, so in the beginning, I mentioned emails. I mean, you're communicating something to one or more people. And if you're doing that, what are you doing it for? Just, unless you're just saying hi, but most likely you want them to do something. You're trying to persuade someone to take an action. Most likely. Sure, it's not in every case, but I don't know why the hell you're emailing people anyway if you don't want them to do something. So, if that's the case, you most likely need action to be taken. And when that action is needed, when is it needed? People are, again, they're busy. People got many things going on. Whether they're justified or not, maybe they're just making work up. Who the hell knows? But they're still busy. And that means they need to understand where this fits in their timing and what are the next steps they need to actually take in order to take action on whatever beautifully written email you just wrote. So I like to always make sure that next steps and actions, next steps and timing is in there. So timing, I usually say, hey, let's aim to get this by today's Monday, April 4th. So Monday, April 4th, and I'll highlight it and I'll bold it at in the email. This way, everyone's very clear that this is a beautifully organized email. But guess what? Here, it needs to be, this is what we need to do by April 4th. Boom. This way, there's no confusion. That's the biggest thing in, I think workplace um, issues. One of the biggest things is communication. I was in school and I'd always hear this. Like, communication is one of the toughest things and most common issues of the workplace, of breakdowns in the workplace. And you say, you know what? I don't believe that. When I get into the professional working environment, people are going to be excellent communicators. There's going to be no confusion. And then you get into the workplace, like, oh, okay. This is not so much freaking different than high school or college. People are still people. people are still people. They're just a little older, but they still have bad ways of communicating. They're still probably not always communicating the same thing they're assuming they are. One person says one thing and two people interpret it in two completely different ways. So I'm a big fan of over communicating and just making sure that we are literally on the same page. When I say this word, do you mean this or that? So I like to be very clear. That's why I'm organized with these emails. And then timing is very clear. There should be no confusions about timing and the next steps that you need to take. So if, for example, you're writing that beautiful, succinct email to your team and it's about the breakdown and process, and I have an example of the structure, you put a background in there, you say, what went wrong? These are all the things that went wrong, and here are the solutions we should be doing going forward. Maybe next steps is like, please confirm these solutions will be used going forward, or let me know if you have any feedback by April 4th, boom, or something like that. I don't know. I'm making stuff off the top of my head, so this could be better, but that's the point, okay? So 4 things: succinct, keep it succinct. If it can't be succinct, put a TLDR at the very top, 1 to 2 sentences. Put a background in the very first paragraph. Prime everybody up before they read an email. Prime those mofos up. 3, organize every paragraph with bolded titles. Again, another primer before they read a paragraph. Let them understand what you're about to tell them, and put actions and timing in the email so no one can be confused. After you write this beautiful email, no one's confused about what they need to do and when they need to do it. You do that, and you are a top email writing person at your job, company. If you don't work at a job or company, at your school, or wherever the hell you go. That is how you write fantastic professional emails. And there's other things, probably like etiquette, that I'm not going to cover here, but there's other things that you talk about. But this is specifically honing in on or focusing in on excellent organizational communication emails that clearly get to the point and persuade people to take action. So those are the points. If you have any feedback, please put that in the comment section. I'd love to hear it. And if you like what you heard, give me that damn thumbs up. Give me the thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date on more podcast videos. I do book reviews and all this stuff coming down. And I will see you next time. Have a fantastic day.